You know, when you talk about this wilderness hunting, I think one of the things that fascinated me was the equipment they had. You know, we talk about today with all the synthetic clothing and all the, the Gore-Tex and all of that stuff. Well, they didn't have that back then. I mean, it was long john underwear. It was Woolrich wool. You get that stuff wet, you're carrying around 40 pounds. And firearms, I mean, they would laugh. Those folks back in the 40s would probably laugh at us today when we're stainless steel rifles and synthetic stocks and all that stuff. Open sights, very few people would use a scope. Matter of fact, they used to curse scopes because the conditions would get so bad with the snow and the sleet and all that. They weren't into scopes. Plus the optics back then were nothing like they are today. So there was pretty much peep sights and open sights, and that's the way they operated. The Avery family, for example, that was in the heart of the Adirondacks, it was Hamilton County, High Peaks area. Most of the land that they hunted was 5 miles from the last electric pole, 35 miles between roads. They had these camps back in there, and they'd put on massive drives. They'd have 30-man drives going 3 miles. And they used to call it barking. And what I mean by that is they'd bark. And every now and then you'd have a guy that would have a frying pan in his hand and he had something to bang on it. And they would drive the deer like that. Some of the deer they killed were pretty impressive because that was remote country. But clothing-wise, Woolrich, or a manufacturer that was trying to copy something like Woolrich. So it was wool hats, you know, everything was heavy and bulky. And I think the beauty of this was I was actually able to hold a lot of this stuff because when I did that book, A Guide to Adirondack Deer Huntings in the 80s, and talked to a lot of these people and picked their brain on what it was like back then, I mean, it was different than today, but it was still deer hunting.